Hi, everyone. I'm here today with Shonagh, who we're so excited will be presenting at the 2024 Gaian Congress, which is January 19th to the 21st in 2024. And so excited to get to meet you a little bit more. And so we'd love to know, you'll be teaching on the Sidhe. How did you first come in connection with the Sidhe?
Well, I will tell you that as a little girl, first of all, I had an Irish grandma and she had the accent, everything, and she was a fantastic storyteller. And she told us a lot of stories of the faerie and of the banshee, and she had this very soft voice. So we would have to still ourselves and so we could get the full story from her. So I had that. And then I also discovered as a young girl, I was in Toronto, Canada, and I used to go to the North York Public Library all the time. And I found Andrew Lang's series of fairy tale books, and I was just smitten. And I even remember like they were located sort of down below, so I would look for the gold fairy book, the blue fairy book, whatever, and just pour through those books. And then I would comb my garden for the fairy. And so I was clear and still am clairsentient and claircognizant. I'm not clairvoyant, I'm not clairaudient, but I could feel and I would get knowings. So I would feel them. And then life took over as it does for all of us. And it wasn't till I was in my early 40s and my marriage to the father of my girls fell apart, and I started asking those deeper questions and going far deeper. And so my 40s were spent working with some really phenomenal teachers, my main teacher being Dr. Joy, who was a Johns Hopkins trained MD who walked away from all of that to teach, and he was very Jungian and a beautiful ceremonialist. So anyway, when I hit 48, the mushroom was calling me. And I don't do drugs, quote unquote. So this was a big deal, but I didn't see it as that. Of course, I saw it as a spirit calling. And so my very first journey, the elves, the elfin were all around me. And it was an absolutely spectacular journey. I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea what to expect, but I also saw Pan on that journey. And then the earth spoke to me, and I experienced a very deep healing. And so after that, I was like, my God, this is a portal. This is an ancient, timeless teaching intelligence, and I want to go back in. And so what happened was I ended up going in for 12 months in a row, a whole year, every month. And deep, I was following Terence McKenna, 5 dry grams. Oh my God. And and I joke that there aren't too many middle-aged ladies in the suburbs going into the forest at night eating that many mushrooms, but that didn't stop me. And so anyway, that was really, looking back, a kind of training, and it was cumulative. And I began a kind of mediumship. And a couple of years into that, I only did every single month the first year, but then I would go in fairly regularly. I began receiving poetic messages, and I could feel again the presence of these fairy folk. And I ended up going to Scotland with Freddie Silva, and he would do these little boutique tours with just 6 people. And that email came through. And when I saw the photos, he's also a photographer, every hair on my body stood on end, and I knew I had to go. And we were going to the Outer Hebrides of Scotland, and we ended up on the Isle of Lewis. And that is where this vast, huge stone circle of Callanish is located, and these other smaller stone circles. And on my website, when you open to shonaghome.org, that opening photo Freddie took of me in this circle. And, those circles, and also temples, whatnot, the ancients, of course, knew the ley lines. They knew the geomagnetic hotspots, if you will. So those stone circles were constructed accordingly on specific spots, and there was geometry. They weren't just randomly placed, right? And the type of stone was important, all of this. So I was in the center of that circle, just standing, feeling the energies. And I felt this tall male being next to me, and he put his hand out, and he had a golden orb in his hand. And there's a whole backstory to that was in the Yucatan. But anyway, I knew these were my people. I'm a Scottish Irish woman. These are my peeps. And I reached out and I took it and I placed it in my heart center. As soon as I did, I felt like I had a device in there. And every other place we went with Freddie, I was pouring forth this poetry, no mushroom needed. Unfortunately, I had a little digital device with me. And then when I returned home, I could feel like, I think they followed me home. And the following day, poetry started coming forth to the point where when I would go to sleep at night, I would have to bring my digital recorder with me because the poetry would enter when you're in that sort of liminal state of like just rising, but not quite, but not asleep either, right? And so that lasted for 3 months. Interesting number. I get a lot of things in threes. And then after that would just sort of come. And then every mushroom journey after that, they would come and they would call themselves the shining ones you call the she. And so this has been going on. I've apprenticed myself to the mushroom teachers for the past 12 years. And so this really began in earnest in probably 9 years ago. It wasn't until this summer. I also host one-on-one retreats in my home. It's really beautiful, intimate work. And I had a woman from Ireland sitting at my kitchen table because I started thinking, I was like, okay, they call themselves the shining ones you call the she. So are they really just the shining ones, but I call them the she? Like, how does this work? And the fae are playful and they'll, speak in riddle and rhyme and kind of let you figure it out. And so I was talking to this lovely woman, this client, this was a couple of months ago, and we were talking about the she, and I was sharing some of the poetic transmissions. And she leans in with a gleam in her eye and she says, where I'm from, we call the she the shining ones. What? All people from an Irish woman, accent, everything. I mean, you couldn't have planned it any better. So this is also like these incredible messages that I receive with like a wink and a smile. And it's not just that, they will also give warnings. It is through my connection with them that I've made a study of law for the past 11 years. Like, these beings are noble and they're to be respected. I don't take them for granted. I would never mess with them. You know what I mean? Like it's a mutual respect.
Yeah.
And also immense kindness from this particular group. And I know because I read so much of the folklorists on this subject. Of course, it's understood throughout Europe, there's sort of friendly ones and there are ones you stay away from. And again, just out of respect, they don't want to be bothered. There's a whole, to me, that is an understanding of the landscape, an understanding and a respect for the spirits of the land. And there are some places you go and it just feels great. And there are other places you're like, I don't think we should be here. And you leave, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and the mushrooms really have changed my life in extraordinary ways. And they have been a portal to these beautiful beings. That said, again, it comes through, but it's not something I can sort of bang out every day and, do an Instagram post and here's this new poem. It doesn't work that way. It comes in at certain times. And as an example, last fall, I live by the base of the Shenandoah Mountains in Northern Virginia. And I do a walk every morning. And 3 mornings in a row, I always have my digital recorder in case something comes to mind or I'm listening to lectures or whatever. I never bring my phone. But the poetry came through. And so I had a poetic message that first day. Second day, another one came in. Third day, another one came in. And just beautiful. And then day 4, I go for my walk and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Nothing. And so there's that as well, right? In other words, this isn't like instant coffee. I mean, it isn't instant coffee when it comes in, but then it's done for a while. And, suck it up, kid, and just really, because also they play with words, and you got to kind of read between the lines and in a way it's kind of encoded. And so, yeah, so it's just been a beautiful journey. And every time that does happen, I'm always just so, my goodness, humbled, like, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then in return, I keep a small garden. I plant trees everywhere I live. I take care of bees. I live on, one of my clients invited me to live on her alpaca farm. And so here I am in this beautiful place, and I steward 2 colonies of honeybees, and I take care of her raised bed garden for her. That's just, just that simple reciprocity.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a long-winded answer.
No, that's great. But I do, yeah, I feel like, yes, there's on the land reciprocity, and then there's this also your teaching and spreading the word is also, to
Yeah,
me, like that's part of it too.
yes, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And so that, yes, explains more about your workshop, which is on poetry and the she. So can you,
Yes. Yeah.
what will be playing with that?
Okay. So, and this is what I want to really encourage people to experience, and I will induct them into connection. But poetry is really like its own language. Don't you find, like, if someone's going to read a poem, recite a poem, it's almost like you shift yourself in this very subtle way to receive, because we know there's something very different, right, than
Yep.
the way we all speak every day.
Yeah.
Something very different. And also spells are often cast in poetry. It's lyrical, dancing, and can kind of put you in a bit of a trance. It's captivating and it's enchanting.
Mm.
And not all poetry, of course, but a lot of it. And a lot of it today, I'm like, I don't get it. Wait, what? They're really like super academic stuff. I had a client who was an academic and a professor, and way into poetry. And he absolutely loved my poem. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to read this to you. I said, like, this is not like anything you're used to. And he said, a lot of this stuff I see, he said, is crap. He said, let me hear it. And he just loved it. Anyway, so that was fun. But that poetry, it's almost like, I don't know, almost like the common poetry of the common folk. Like, it just speaks to you right away, and I had a Scottish man who was a mentor in law. I've had a couple of really amazing mentors, and not lawyer law. That's not legal system law, like the deeper tenets of law, which is very ancient. And I sent him one of the poetic transmissions, and he wrote back and said, have you heard of Thomas the Rhymer? And I said, yeah, but I haven't really got it. He's like, you gotta look into that, because your poetry sounds, it's coming from that.
Yeah.
And so then I have a little podcast called The Mushroom's Apprentice, and I did an episode, I don't remember if it's episode 6 or 7, on the faerie, and there I read this wonderful well-known poem on Thomas the Rhymer, which is just so beautiful, and in that kind of old Scottish language.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want is to have people kind of have that experience of receiving something poetically, and it's often very playful. I think it changes the brain in a sense. It opens up more, kind of becomes available to us. And even if you think of, like, there's a beautiful shaman man, Martin Prechtel, and he wrote Secrets of the Talking Jaguar, which I devoured. And he wrote another book called Long Life, Honey in the Heart. And that man just composes words exquisitely. But long life, honey in the heart was a traditional Mayan greeting. Like, if I ran into you in the street, I would wish you long life, honey in the heart. Like, that is beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Sort of how our language is just deteriorating. So it's actually very saddening, because English is, as every language can be so beautiful. It's two sides, but
it does reflect more like where we're coming from. We get so pragmatic and utilitarian, and I think we lose that magic, because that is really what it is.
yes.
That
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah. And poetry was thought by the Irish to be a gift from the faerie.
Right.
And it's been a wonderful road for me, because I did not know that. And then a few years ago, when I was reading a lot of these folklorists, and I read them, I was like, oh, Wonderful, wonderful. Lady Wilde talks about that. She was Oscar Wilde's mother, and she collected all these stories from these country folk. This was in the late 1800s, realizing things are changing. And these people are going to go away. This stuff's going to fade away forever if someone doesn't, collect this.
Wow.
So yeah, she's got a wonderful book of stories.
Did you say you had something that you could share with us now?
I do. So this is from a mushroom journey I took on the winter solstice of 2016. And I go in now. I mean, I'm so busy with my work, I don't go in that much, maybe once or twice a year, but I go in when I'm called. And my two daughters were with their father, so I had the house to myself. And it was like, make no mistake, you're going in. And I was like, oh, all right. And I always hem and haw because it takes a lot out of me. It's kind of hard on your nervous system.
Mm.
And so anyway, but I did go in. I'm just going to look for this here. And this is an excerpt from what came through. It's a very long transmission. I mean, basically, when I take the mushroom, I'm in my bed. I just want to lie down, be comfortable, have a lot of water next to me, have my digital recorder, close my eyes, hit record, and then away we go.
Wow.
So, but I thought your audience might find this interesting. And so they said, we are a small conglomeration, members of the faerie nation. We would like to sit with you and offer up our point of view. We have much to say, it's true. We will ensure that you'll construe our message to you at this hour. To you, dear one, we will shower. Using words we like to play, it's the nature of the fae. Magic we will make tonight, with you hidden out of sight, in your bedroom chamber dark. Listen, and then you will hark. In we come through golden spine, taking you to place divine. Hidden deep inside your mind, we will show you how to find the hidden door. We'll open wide, we'll all together step inside. This will be a pleasant ride as we speak to you inside. Hard to get you out to play. You would far prefer to stay all alone with those sad thoughts. We do not like to see you caught in that web of frequency. We are here to rest you free. Trust us, daughter, this the night, the perfect evening for a flight. The sky is clear, the weather sure. Your ship that grows in cow manure will take you far tonight, dear one. You, a daughter of the sun. You don't need to eat that much, just enough so we can touch the beauty place within your heart. This the place we like to start, luring you with Pan's embrace. He puts a smile onto your face. Do not lose heart, good daughter wise. We do hear your worried cries. Remember, we're a frequency, a current that you cannot see. A separate world where wise ones we extend our hand to help you free yourself from mental prisons there. We seek to make you quite aware that there is far more here for you. We'll help you with all that you do. And then I was asking them about kind of the path forward for myself and my desire to be in service. And they said, priestesses fair were once everywhere. So many climbed the ancient stairs. Now so few who come. Those who do seek respite from the stench of pain that lives here now. They have defiled the sacred cow. We imbue the ones with ears. We will gently help you steer your ship to waters with skies clear, away from those dark ones you fear. They really cannot hurt you, dear. The more you learn of sovereignty, the better off that you will be. That is when you will be free. And the many that you see caught in net, they are not free. Yes, they suffer terribly. You do your best to help them see. And if they're lucky, hopefully, they'll catch the drift and sail to seas that won't produce the storms and gales, the crying, moaning, and the wails. The only wails you'll likely hear will be the ones that swim quite near our ships, for they are curious, for we don't cause injurious effects upon their sacred waters. This a place where sons and daughters, mothers, fathers, and the old live in peace, and with hearts bold, they share the light within their soul. This a safe place to behold, not a dream, dear, it can be, if you open eyes to see. We are playing words with thee, hoping your good mind will free itself from all those thoughts that bind.
That was perfect to hear, especially with this lunar eclipse that's happening as we're recording this. That's just, yes.
Yes, yes. And messages in there. Our thoughts bind. Like
Yes, oh, absolutely.
we're magi's. When I think of that word imagination, and we can be a nation unto ourselves. Magi nation. Each one of us is a nation of the magi.
Yes.
But we got to be careful how we use those thoughts, how we use the spoken word.
Well, also, I felt they said something about that they are, I don't know if they said they are a frequency or they added frequency, but I could feel, because I'm also sort of clairsentient. It's like, yes, I can feel that frequency shift. And that to me is also part of how we create through our frequency and through our energetics. So
yeah, exactly.
it's really lovely. Such a gift.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be able to share it with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to meeting all these good people.
Yes. Yes. So everybody, GaianCongress.org. It's GAIAN, GaianCongress.org. And we'll be getting together in January. So we hope to see you all there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.